There are a lot of travel products that cost a ton of money, and most of them, to be honest, just aren't worth it. But what if I told you there are actually products out there that do the exact opposite? They don't just make travel easier, they actually save you more money than you spend on them. Hey, Johannes from Gear Up Your Life here, and today I'll show you 12 travel products you can buy to actually save money. And no, I'm not talking about credit cards, loyalty programs, or booking hacks, just real physical travel gear that has saved me more money than it cost. And like always, at the end I've got 4 bonus gadgets that don't directly save you money, but help you avoid losing it. So let's get right into it. So our first product is also the biggest on the list, and it's the TomTok Navigator T6640 liter. And now you probably ask yourself, how can a backpack actually save me money? And I'll tell you, because this is one of those products that replaces multiple things at once. First, of course, the price. At around $85, this is already way cheaper than almost any carry-on suitcase. But the real savings come from how you use it. Because instead of carrying a suitcase plus a separate day pack, this can replace both. And I normally never say that about 40-liter bags, but with the side clips, you can compress it down enough to actually use it during the day. So instead of buying an extra backpack for $50 to $150, you already have it. And then, of course, airline fees. Because more and more airlines are getting stricter with luggage. And with something like this, you can often avoid checked baggage completely, which over time can easily save you more than the bag itself costs. But now why this one specifically? To be honest, it comes down to the value. For under $100, the quality is just hard to beat. The materials feel solid, you get YKK zippers, and overall it just feels way more premium than you'd expect at this price. The straps are comfortable, the back panel is well padded, and even when it's packed out, it still feels good to carry. Inside, it's simple but really practical. One big main compartment, a full laptop section with good protection, and a layout that just works without overcomplicating things. And one thing I really like is how easy it is to access your stuff. You can open it like a duffel, but also use a vertical zipper to access it like a normal backpack, which makes a big difference in everyday use. And overall, I think TomTok did a really good job here. So next we move to a product most of you probably already know, the AeroPress. And I think this is actually the travel product that has saved me the most money, because it's just so simple to use. You don't need anything complicated, just some coffee grounds and hot water, and you have your coffee ready in a few seconds. And especially when you're traveling in more expensive countries like Norway, Switzerland, or even the US, a simple coffee in the morning can easily cost you $5 to $10. And that really adds up over time. But it's not just the money, it's also the time you save. You don't have to go out, wait in line, or look for a cafe. You just make it yourself and you're done. And considering the AeroPress itself only costs around $35 to $40, pays for itself really quickly. And one thing I definitely recommend, like I mentioned in the last video, is getting a metal filter like this one. It's around $10 to $15, but it completely replaces the need for paper filters. And personally, I don't even know if it's scientifically true, but I actually think the coffee tastes even better with it. So for our next product, we stay in the beverage section, and it's a stainless steel water bottle. And that's basically a product where I actually lost money without even realizing it, because instead of constantly buying drinks, whether that's water, coffee, or something like a shake, you can just bring your own. And of course, you'll still buy drinks here and there, but even if it's just 1 or 2 per day, that's easily $3 to $8 daily in a lot of places. And over a full trip, that just adds up. And especially in countries where tap water is safe to drink, this becomes even more useful. You can just refill it and you're good to go. But even in bigger cities like Paris, for example, you now see more and more public water fountains with really clean drinking water, so you don't even have to think about buying anything. And then there are also smaller things that add up. For example, in countries like Germany, with deposit systems, you often end up buying bottles that you don't return at the end of your trip. And that means you're basically throwing away money every time. So something like this just removes all of that. Now personally, I use 2 different ones. The first one is the Evervessel Mini, which is the one I actually use more on a daily basis, especially for things like the gym or shorter days, because it's super compact and easy to carry. The only downside is that it's not insulated, so drinks don't stay cold for that long, and hot drinks can get pretty warm on the outside. And then the second one is the Owala Free Sip, which I think a lot of people already know by now. And that one just does everything really well. It's insulated, super easy to use with one hand, and overall just a really solid all-around bottle. Price-wise, both are in that $20 to $30 range, so nothing crazy. And of course, there are also the obvious benefits like less plastic waste and just drinking more water in general, but even purely from a money perspective, this is one of the easiest ways to save money on every single trip without really changing anything about how you travel. Our next one is more like a hidden gem and something that is totally underrated, because it's basically my whole washing setup, made up of 3 to 4 simple products, and all of them have been holding up for more than 2 years now. And this is one of those setups that saves you money in multiple ways, because instead of paying for laundry services or bringing way more clothes than you actually need, you can just wash things yourself. And even in cheaper places like Southeast Asia, where laundry is already affordable, it still makes sense for smaller things, especially because you can react instantly. Like when you spill coffee or get a ketchup stain on your t-shirt, you don't have to wait or pay for anything, you just fix it right away. And the setup itself is super simple. First, something like this clothesline from Sea to Summit, around $10 to $15. You can set it up basically anywhere, hotel room, Airbnb, even road trips, then a sink stopper, because a lot of sinks either don't have one or don't seal properly. I'm using a set from Mr. Riga, but honestly, any reliable one works, and then just some form of soap. I like using soak no rinse, but in places like Thailand, it's often cheaper to just buy something locally, and that's already enough, because even if this setup saves just one or two $20 t-shirts per year, it already pays for itself, but realistically it does more than that, because once you start washing while traveling, you need fewer clothes overall, which means less luggage, less weight, and often even fewer fees. And especially hotel laundry can get expensive really fast, so this is one of the easiest ways to avoid those costs completely. So next up is one of the simplest products on this list, but also one that can save you money instantly, and that's a digital luggage scale, because I think most people already know that situation. You pack your bag, everything feels fine, and then at the airport you suddenly realize it's overweight, and that's where things get expensive really fast. Even small overweight fees can easily be $20, $30, sometimes even more dollars, just for a few extra kilos. And the worst part is, you could have avoided it, because with something like this, you just attach it to your bag, lift it up for a few seconds, and you know exactly where you stand, especially on the way back. When your bag is almost always heavier than before, this becomes even more useful. And for around $10 to $15, this is one of those products that pays for itself after one single use. So it's super small, super simple, but easily one of the most practical ways to avoid unnecessary costs while traveling. So next product is a merino wool t-shirt, or merino wool in general. And what it does is actually pretty simple. You don't need to pack as many shirts, you don't need to wash them as often, and you definitely don't need to buy new ones as frequently, because one merino t-shirt can easily replace 2 or even 3 normal ones. It doesn't smell as fast, it dries quicker, and overall it just holds up way better while traveling. But it also really depends on the brand. For example, as always, no hate to the brand, but unbound merino shirts are around $100, which is honestly pretty expensive. So personally, I use the ones from merino.tech, which are about half the price, and I've never had any issues with them. For reference, as I show in every video, I'm about 190 centimeters and around 94 kilos, and I wear size XL, and they go up to XXL, so I think it fits most people. And you even get socks with them, which I also use quite a lot, especially in winter or when hiking. So for me personally, switching from normal cotton shirts to merino actually saved me a lot over time, because I just need fewer shirts overall, I wash less, and I replace them way less often. And since then, I also pack lighter on most trips, which again can save you money in the long run. Our next product is something super simple, but one that actually saves you money almost instantly. We're talking about refillable toiletry bottles, like these ones here from Gravel, and this solves a problem you probably know. You're about to travel, you pack your toiletry bag, and then you realize you need those small travel-sized products: shampoo, body wash, sunscreen, and those are usually insanely overpriced. Because if you look at it, a normal full-size shampoo at home, let's say around 400 to 500 milliliters, costs you maybe $8 to $10. And then you go to the store, buy a tiny travel version with like 100 milliliters, and suddenly you pay $4 or $5 for it. So you're basically paying half the price for a quarter of the product, and that's exactly what this solves. Instead of buying all of that again, you just refill what you already have at home, and you're done. The Gravel ones sit at around $10 to $15, and the quality is honestly really solid. They don't leak, they're easy to use, and they just work. So even after just one trip, they've basically already paid for themselves. And especially if you travel more often or go on longer trips, this just keeps saving you money over time. And one small side note, if you stay somewhere longer, you can even buy bigger bottles locally, refill them, and take the rest with you. And if you're using solid soap, something like the Matador Flat Pack soap case is also a really nice addition to keep everything clean and protected. But overall, these refillable bottles are definitely the main money saver here. So our last one on the main list is also the smallest, and that's a foldable tote bag. And in my case, that's the nano bag. And this one saves you money without you even noticing it, because instead of buying bags while traveling, whether it's for groceries, shopping, or just random things during the day, you always have one with you. And especially in a lot of countries now, you actually have to pay for bags. So every time you don't have one, you're spending extra money for something you'll probably throw away later anyway. And that really adds up over time. But what makes something like the nano bag so good is how small it packs down. It literally fits in your pocket, or you can just clip it to your bag. So there's no reason not to have it with you. And once you open it, it's actually surprisingly strong. You can carry groceries, beach stuff, or even use it as a backup day pack if you suddenly need more space. And for around $10 to $15, this is one of those things you buy once and just keep using for years. So again, it's super simple, but easily one of the easiest ways to avoid small small but constant extra cost while traveling. And don't go anywhere just yet, because after this we still have 4 bonus gadgets left. But real quick, before we get into the bonus gadgets, if you want to save even more money while traveling and not just rely on random products like in this video, you might want to check out my newsletter. Inside, you'll find 75 plus travel essentials I've tested, 8 complete packing guides, and practical setups that actually help you avoid unnecessary costs, together with a community of over 2,000 travelers already inside. You can join for free through the first link in the description. So now, let's get into the bonus gadget. So our first bonus gadget is a luggage tracker, in my case, the Tile. And this product that doesn't directly save you money, but can prevent you from losing it, because if your luggage gets lost, that can get expensive really fast. And with something like this, you at least know where your bag is. It's super small, you just leave it inside your luggage and that's it. Not perfect, but definitely one of those things you're glad you have when you need it. So next bonus gadget is a phone case, and in my case the Peak Design one. Yeah, $45 sounds like a lot, but if your phone breaks, that gets expensive really fast. It also has built-in MagSafe, so it works with mounts, tripods and power banks. Feels premium, holds up well, and just protects your phone properly. Not really essential, but definitely a thing that can save you a lot of money. So third bonus gadget is a pack of Velcro cable ties. They're only around $10 and you get a lot of them. It's a super simple thing, but it actually makes a difference. Because when cables just sit loose in your bag, they get bent, twisted, and over time, they break. And once a cable breaks, you're buying a new one. So with these, everything stays organized and protected. Nothing special, but one of those small things that just saves you money over time. And the last bonus gadget is a solid 3-in-1 charging cable, like this one from Anker. Because instead of carrying multiple cables, you just have one that does everything. And the big thing here is quality. A good cable like this easily lasts 2 to 3 times longer than cheaper ones. And once cables start breaking, you keep replacing them. So this just keeps things simple and saves you money over time. Alright, and with that, we're done. If you enjoyed this one, the video on the left is definitely for you. You'll find even more travel setups and gadgets there. And if you're not subscribed yet, you can do that right here on the right. Thanks a lot for watching all the way to the end. And as always, safe travels, guys.